Good to meet you, Joe. I've been a fan of your music for a long time. So as I was just saying to John, it feels a little bit surreal to be meeting you, you know?
Oh, thank you very much. Gosh,
Yeah.
I heard you for the first time today. I loved your original that you've just posted.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah, I think pretty much all of your videos have been like reference material for me. Whenever I'm like working on a song, I'll like go over to your channel and be like, I wonder what Joe's doing.
Wow, that's really good. How interesting. I had no idea. Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, I'm trying to be less of a lurker on YouTube. I think at the moment I'm more of a watcher, and I forget to let people know how much I like what they're doing.
What have you guys been up to?
I had a granddaughter. That was like a big deal.
Oh, congrats.
So she's what? She'd be 9 days old now. So,
really? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Congrats. It's your first there. Was that your first? Did you say first grandchild?
Yeah. So we've been out to Glastonbury in the west of England to visit. That's where my daughter lives. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
So I haven't been doing much else really. I've been away and coming back, and just about managed to get a recording out today. So just still turning the handle. Yeah.
I have to give it a listen. I'm not seen it yet.
Today I recorded Blood Count by Strayhorn, which is a particularly gorgeous tune.
Oh, I'll have to check it out.
Do you model in your mind? Do you model off a particular recording that you heard or arrangement?
I do. I think I'm not sure to what extent we discussed this last time, but I'll take normally one version that I just adore, and I'll listen to it, and I'll maybe extract an idea or two that I really like, and then I will stop listening to it altogether and take a week or so where I'm just playing it and bringing my own stuff in. But it's still kind of playing in the back of my head as I go.
Is there any sort of common themes as to what you like in a version that inspires you? Is it like a vocal version or an instrumental one, or what?
It is normally a vocal version, but in this case it's an instrumental one. In this case it's Johnny Hodges. Oh my God, Johnny Hodges. Well, what can I say? And of course you have to turn it off because you cannot be Johnny Hodges,
right?
Especially not on the guitar, right? I mean, it's just.
I definitely relate to what you said. I'm trying to be better about the space element of it. It's like I'll hear someone do something and I'll be like so floored by what they're doing that I'm like, I want to try and capture that perfectly.
It's really interesting.
But I think, like you said, you can't be anyone else. So I definitely struggle with that a little bit, just because, especially when you find a piece of music that's like so breathtakingly beautiful, at least I want to like take it all,
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
I think a lot of like where the people's like character comes from comes I don't know, it comes quite a bit from what you can't do as well as what you can do. Like plays as much into it as just like finding like, because everyone's hands and everything's different. Like you find kind of different approaches and workarounds and things for something to feel comfortable to you. If it it's like
very simpatico, aren't we? It's a very, very similar kind of feel. I think we talked about this last time, didn't we? About how you kind of just want to play it all, and then you can't, and then you have to work out what you take out. You have to feel what you can remove, and still get some sort of flavor of what you're going for.
I was thinking that about like some like Hendrix parts that I really like, but he's always doing the thumb over the top, and I think that is a big part of the way that articulation comes about, and I can't do that. It feels horrible to me. Like I just can't do it. So I feel like if you want to get something from that effect, you've got to look at, or like you've got to always look at it different to how someone else did it, because there's always something. It's the same thing is not going to work for two people. That was what one example came to mind. Like that stuff is not going to work for me, so I've got to figure something else out.
And there's a writer called Georges Perec who introduced artificial constraints to what he did, and my artificial constraint is I never use a bar, and it's very perverse. But I will never ever use a bar, and I don't quite know why. It's just become like an eccentricity thing that I have. But that's my kind of, okay, how can I play this without ever using a bar?
Yeah, it's as far as like a style being defined, I feel like it's as much as about what you don't do as what you do. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah, I love the Goldsmith, by the way.
Oh, the alien thing. Yeah, I love that score, man.
Yeah, that I really love that. I love LA Confidential as well. Do you know LA Confidential?
I've never seen that. No, I don't think so. I can't remember. Who's in it?
It's Kevin Spacey and Russell Crowe is in it.
Oh, I think I have seen it like years and years ago, but I don't remember it. I'll have to watch it again.
It's another fine bit of Goldsmith action on that one. Yeah.
My other favorite one, which is one of my favorite films, is Papillon.
Oh yeah,
he did for that. Do you know the music?
I know. Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
I love the music in that one as well. Yeah,
it's very long, isn't it, Papillon? I seem to remember.
Yeah,
rambling epic. Yeah, in the days when they made rambling epics.
I really like that as well.
In the days when, at the very outset of cable television, when HBO, when you had a Pong set where you played Pong and whatnot, and it was so basic, Papillon was one of the first movies they showed, and I've seen that movie about 30 times. Because it was on every day, multiple times. I was watching. That's a difficult ride, that movie.
Yeah, it's quite brutal, isn't it? Yeah,
I like that film. I read the book not too long ago, only like a few months ago, and that was good as well. Very different, but yeah, cool.
I think I read that.
But yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's one of my dad's favorite films, so that's why I know about it. Yeah.
Tom, do you mind detailing a little bit what got you into wanting to play multi-voiced polyphony on the guitar?
Sure. I think it really was like Chet Atkins to start. Like I was pretty. I think when I first started playing, I would just sit in my basement with like a little slide and play very awful sounds. And then I kind of heard what Chet Atkins was doing, and I feel like it just opened up a bit of a world for me where I was like, you can be a whole orchestra there. And I think from there, that was how I first heard like Lenny Breau play, because they have that recording of Polka Dots and Moonbeams. And I think that one like really stuck with me just because I didn't know who was playing it, but it was like, just felt like a step, not necessarily above, but like his orchestration was just so beautiful. And then I think from there, it just kind of progressed to then getting recommended the odd Ted Greene video. And then from there, it was like pretty much game over. I was like, I have to know how to make those sound, It's just a totally different perspective on the guitar from what I'm used to, I was pretty much a chord guy for a long time.
It's an elegant kind of soul. I think you guys all have that, a really elegant expression, and it's just comes out so refined and beautiful because you put the time in and you care about it enough. It's really beautiful.
Sorry, go ahead.
After you.
It feels, I don't want to totally shift the topic here, but that's something that I admire so much about all of you guys. I was thinking about that because I know I was trying to think of things to bring up here. But I guess I am like consistently inspired by all of your presence when you're playing the instrument, I think more than anything, like it really shows that you guys are listening, like when you play, and totally feeling what you're doing. So it's just a consistent source of inspiration for me, because I think when you're practicing a lot and trying to learn stuff all the time, I have to fight myself and the instinct to just think of notes as notes, and just like something that my fingers do. But it's like so much more than that. And I think that's what I hear when I hear you guys play, is like appreciation for the whole instrument and what it can do.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Likewise, feel that way about yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I don't know if you guys
certainly.
covered this in the last conversation, but I'd be curious to know how you guys all got into sort of guitar orchestration.
I don't think I covered this in the last time, but I might have done. No, I don't think I did. Anyway, I saw. I'd been playing classical oboe, and then I had a bit of classical guitar, and I was 17, and I was watching the Oscar Peterson show on TV when I was 17, and I saw Joe Pass on there doing Ain't Misbehaving, and I didn't even know that existed, that sound. What the hell is this guy doing?
I know the exact one you're talking about. Yeah.
It's really interesting. And I found it the other day on YouTube. Again, I thought, yeah, that's the one. That is it. And it was just astonishing. And that just got me going. That was it. And then various studies and Musicians Institute and all that just kind of diverted me, the way that these things do, with kind of, I've got to do some fusion stuff, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. And it took a long time for me to come back to where I started, really.
So you went to the States and spent quite a bit of time over there as well?
I was there for a calendar year, September to September, yeah.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
In fact, I was going to reply to the mail about the Ted Greene seminar. I think that was like a month before I arrived, that seminar.
Ah, wow.
Because I was there from 1984 to 1985, and I think that seminar was in summer 1984, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was there in September.
Interesting.
And I got very distracted by things other than solo jazz guitar. But it was a happy time.
I know, pardon me, for me, somehow my mother's father built harpsichords and classical guitars in his spare time. He worked for the FAA, the Aviation Administration, but somehow he wanted to get into woodworking and whatnot. So when I expressed an interest in guitar, he right away said, I'm going to get you the best classical teacher on the island. I lived in Hawaii. So I went to this man, I don't know for how long, maybe half a year, but it established my hand position. But more importantly, Guitar Player magazine, I think, was so pivotal, at least for me back then. We're talking late 70s, early 80s. So there was a classical comment in the back. You have the columns, and people would give lessons. And so I was listening to Bream and John Williams and Segovia, and my grandfather was very aligned that way. So I had that right off the bat. So it came in through classical, and then I heard Ted, just because, again, Guitar Player magazine gives a little blurb and you think, what's that? So it all happened like that for me as far as counterpoint and stuff.
I guess mine's a bit different again. I heard, because I was telling you this, John. I sent you that old picture of my my grandmother and her brothers playing. So obviously they're really musical. So I heard loads of, especially guitarists. My grandparents are just crazy about guitarists, but even before I was playing, I didn't get it at the time. I remember now hearing like on their TV videos of Segovia and Django and stuff like that, but they also love Dave Gilmour and Hendrix and Stevie Ray, Jeff Beck, and all these kind of things, and that's what I'm really into. So that was what really got me into it. Again like a Strat type guitar and pretending to be Hendrix for years and years, and that's it's funny that because I guess people don't because I don't play that many videos this way and stuff, but that's what I spent the majority of everything playing, and then just playing in band loads of Joe, I'm sure you know, in the UK, there's like in pubs, there's loads of like blues bands in pubs, like that stuff. Is yeah.
It does seem to be the thing in the UK, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
I don't know why that is, but that was like
last weekend, and there was like a blues band playing in the pub as I passed. Yeah,
I don't. Yeah, I don't know why that is, but yeah, there's a pub where when I was, I don't know how old it would have been like, but it was like the last Thursday of every month they just have like a blues night, and you just go up and you just play with the band, and you know, like you play like you know what's it called, like, you know, it's like old blues tunes, you know, like blues rock stuff, like you know, that kind of stuff. And then I don't know, just over time, like you sit around at home and you play like by yourself, like you just gradually over time getting more I don't know, layers and things on your own, I guess, but underneath it, it's you know, I still hear everything like Stevie Ray Vaughan, and it seems to be how I relate everything to that kind of thing. Yeah.
So in a way, Ray and I collaborated on a track where at the end he plays a solo. But so in a way, the way I processed your signal and stuff, I took you back to your roots in a way of psychedelia, of Hendrix.
Right.
I kind of processed it as if it was a Hendrix record at that point, right? You heard the phasing and stuff?
Yeah, for sure. It was not like an unfamiliar sound. Like, even it was weird playing it like, you know, like clean, like the way I sent it you, because I was imagining it more like how you did it, to be fair. But yeah, I think I remember like the stuff that really, really grabbed me, like when I was really young, hearing it was like the reverse solo on Castles Made of Sand. That's just like etched into my brain, that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, that's kind of what got me into music. Yeah.
But then specifically, what got you into wanting to learn the more intricate harmonic aspects?
Just over time, I think I remember how. Well, I've mentioned you about we were talking about Alan Holdsworth, who was a massive, because I still am, you know, really into you know, like Hendrix, Jeff Beck, Stevie Ray, all those kind of crowd, and then some guy who I knew like when I was in high school, because he was doing the sound for like the school plays and stuff, because I was playing the guitar in the band, you know, behind the curtain for the school plays, and there'd be someone out. They did School of Rock, and it was like me and a few people behind, and then people miming on stage, but we were playing in the background. It was funny. And then he was like, "Oh yeah, you play guitar? Have you ever heard of Alan Holdsworth?" I was like, "No." He was like, "Go and have a listen." I was like, "Okay," and I probably would never been the same since. So,
how far was Alan born and raised from where you live?
He's from Bradford. I'm from Leicester. I'm from like, which is like Leicester's like dead in the middle of the country. Bradford's up north. So yeah, he's so like Alan's like up here. I'm like here. Joe's down there. Do you ever hear Alan? His accent's funny because he got like a proper northern accent when he was younger, and then as he was in the States, he's got kind of this hybrid accent. But I think that was probably that was when I heard that hearing chords move, was like just the way that probably yeah, I've never really been the same since. But yeah.
Do you all have a similar experience with Alan Holdsworth listening to him?
I have never been a huge fan. I saw him. He came to Musicians Institute when he was in his the thing with the synthy thing on it, whatever that was called.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Which wasn't my favourite sound. I prefer him when he didn't play that. So I think I was slightly biased by having heard him do that. But I mean, obviously the technique. I mean, bloody hell.
The thing that really got me, because I feel like he's got a rep about just being like having like mad technique and everything, which is true, I guess. But like, I think what really got me was just just the way his chords flowed from. It just feels like such a color shift. Like I just genuinely remember like what was the easiest for me to get into was like his early 80s stuff, because it sounds like the instruments is like it's a voice, a bass, drums, like a lead guitar, and then layered like volume swell guitars, and that's just quite an approachable sound, more than like the syntax thing.
Syntax, that's it.
Yeah, it's a lot more like approachable than that, and I think that was what, like, it was like a familiar sound, but I just think like I remember thinking like there's something happening here, and I don't know what, but I like it, like yeah. So
I was tremendously familiar with like Holdsworth's music prior to meeting Ray, and I guess I had some like preconceptions about what it was, because I used to work at a music store here, and there was a guitar teacher who would always like speak about Holdsworth as if it had like some mythical quality, you know. So I guess I presupposed that I wouldn't understand it, and so I didn't bother. And then talking to Ray, and I guess hearing your music, and then listening to Holdsworth, kind of made me understand it differently, just because I know we had spoken a couple of times about just like what those sounds mean to you. And so I feel like I was able to appreciate it in a different way because of that.
Could you elaborate on that, Ray? What those sounds mean to you? That's amazing.
I think he's a very misunderstood, well, not misunderstood, but I think he's got a lot of things, you know, there's a lot of things that you hear about him, like just because being a guitar player, like, oh, he's a crazy guitar player, you know, like all this kind of thing. But I think he's, you know, it's really nothing to do with guitar or being the best guitarist or anything. He's like it feels like a poet to me, or something like that. The way his compositions are, just, yeah, I don't know. They just seem to reach me in a certain way, especially like particular things. It's like certain ones that just really just been.
Tell me what to listen to, Ray.
Probably like any live version of Above and Below is really beautiful. Which is just like a chordal ballad.
Grabs a piece of paper.
But Above and Below is called. That's probably. I mean, there's so many moments. There really is. But what did it for me first was the album called IOU, because that's the one I like. The lyrics. I really like the lyrics on it and everything too. Just the feeling feels like it's like really reaching beyond, like trying to. I don't know whatever the opposite of mundane is. Yeah,
completely down with that. I mean, definitely the guy's reaching like you wouldn't believe. Yeah. I mean, the harmonic ideas are extraordinary.
To give a humanizing voice to the syntax, listen to Distance versus Desire from Sand. It's rhapsodically beautiful. He's just improvising over these big fifth stack chords, and I think he's in fifths tuning with a harmonizer. So it's these gigantic orchestral chords. Do you know that one, Ray?
Yeah, I've listened to the Sound album. Yeah.
And he's using the breath controller, so he's breathing phrases in and stuff. That's my favorite of the syntax stuff.
Yeah.
Tom, I've heard you do things on a Telecaster that I know Ted Greene would have loved to have heard.
Yeah.
How did you get into Ted, and how deep have you gone into his world?
Oh man, I mean, to answer the second part first, I pretty much owe everything to that guy. Almost always like poking around his website. And I'm at work. I'm allowed to bring my guitar, so I have printouts from the Ted Greene website. I have like all the books that I'm working through. So I'm a little bit of a fanatic. Pretty much if anyone mentions wanting to learn more about guitar, I'm like, look at the books. Like you gotta check this shit out. But I honestly don't remember how I got into Ted Greene, because I think the first time I saw him was like one of his lessons popped up on YouTube, and I think it was one of the ones where he felt that he was explaining something very clearly, and in retrospect he was. I didn't know enough at the time to understand it, but you could see him getting like a little bit exasperated. And I was like, who is this guy? You know, like, and then I forgot about it for like years. And then I guess a buddy of mine gave me chord chemistry. He was like, I have this book, you should check it out. And that book, like, really, I know it's pretty divisive, but that like captured something in me. I think it was particularly that page of just all different ways to play A, you know, like all variations of A. And I had just never seen anything like it. Because I was like constructing like really rudimentary chord melody type things. And so to see the sheer number of possibilities was like, okay, I need to drop everything and figure out what this book is trying to communicate to me.
Ted eventually told me that if he had waited 7 months, he would have had his voicing system in that book. And that he said, if you look at chord chemistry from an angle, you can see I'm trying to figure out my voicing system of sizes, of categorizing things by the compass point of the highest and lowest note. And that's what he came to, is there's a finite number of voicing sizes that are reasonably playable on guitar. That's his voicing system.
Mm.
Is this the V?
Yeah.
V1, V2, yeah. I'm not familiar with that at all. Do you think about this?
I think about the compass point because of Bach, because of how distance creates a kind of interplay that adds richness to the interaction.
What do you mean? What do you mean by compass point?
Well, I think of it as you do architectural drawings with a protractor. Or a
Oh! I see what you're
so
saying.
you have you have the lowest, just
Right.
like Joe on your 7-string. You have the low voice and the upper voice, and then there's some in the middle. So it's those really. To me, guitar is it's a rich 3-voice instrument kind of. If it gets more than that, there's doublings and things that I'm into that standard cluster tuning, Ray, where it's the E and the A strings are up an octave, and I just sit around wanting to play these little interactions that sparkle. It's amazing.
That's a fun sound, yeah.
A really fun sound. I think I gave it a shot after your video, Ray.
Yeah, what did you think? Yeah.
I mean, you missed the low end. I think we talked about that.
Yeah.
Really missed hearing a bass note. But being able to hear those close intervals without having to try and do the harmonic thing, like an eye opener for me, because I love the sound of like close intervals, but having to work on the mechanical aspect of it kind of slowed down my ability to figure out what works and what doesn't. You know, always be in that tuning. You could say like, oh man, I can play like a 7th in the bass, and if it's up an octave, that's going to sound pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sorry, kind of unrelated, but Joe, I know you play a 7-string, and I've been curious whether you use the low B or an A, because I know
I use the low A because it's easy.
Yeah. What makes it easier than the low B? Because I've tried the low tuning and it messes with my head too much.
What makes it? Certainly for me, I just think it's just an octave below the 5th, so it's just nice and easy. I just move your finger, doink, you're done.
Sure.
That's why it works. Obviously, it's then a bit trickier navigating between the 7th and the 6th. If you're going up a scale, let's say, it gets a bit. But it's the trade-off. You can also do a very nice just 5th bass, don't, with the alternating the 7th and the 6th. I think I just did it because Van Epps did it. So when I got a guitar, I thought that's the tuning that you have to use.
Sure.
I think the rock thing was just starting. The low B thing was just starting when I got it. So.
I think low B was because people wanted symmetry in their scale fingerings, 3-note per string scale fingerings, and they wanted to just be able to shred all the way down, because that was a new thing.
That was the Steve Vai moment, wasn't it?
That was.
Yeah.
That was a distinct moment. Yeah. And I got to say, just as someone that was around at the time, Joe, you were too, Van Epps didn't get mentioned a whole lot when the whole 7-string solid
Yeah.
body thing came up with the Floyd Rose and stuff. I kept waiting for someone to mention George, and hey, no, how about the 1930s and Epiphone and what? So,
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Was George Van Epps the inspiration for that for you?
I just know I wanted the bottom end. I knew that he had the bottom end. George's playing, I actually prefer his pick playing. I love. There's a thing. What is it? He does?
once
Booty bam, booty bam, booty bam. You do that one. That's just so beautiful.
1949, he wrote out charts for the bass players because I said, are you improvising those changes? Or he said, no, those are worked out arrangements. I had to write the changes. So for Kay's Fantasy and all that stuff, bass players looking at a chart because there's modulations everywhere. And he's playing a rest stroke style of picking where
it's just
if you
gorgeous.
listen to Once in a While from 1949, he does. I was doing it last night to try to. How did the yagadee gagadee 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 with moving seventh chords?
Yeah, the articulation. It sounds like someone playing with accompaniment, but it's just one pick stroke, isn't it? It's extraordinary, the sound. So that I loved in Van Epps. Yeah, don't know what more to say.
I listened to Van Epps because all of the people that I admired loved Van Epps, which was Tal Farlow. He encouraged me to listen to Lester Young. Tal Farlow said, Taxi, War Dance, Lester Leaps In, and Jumpin' at the Woodside with the Count Basie Orchestra. He said, listen to Lester Young solos. And then he was really insistent on Van Epps for chords. And so right away I checked it out, and it's that thing of you listen to Van Epps for a long time and then you realize there's another voice happening that your brain wasn't even taking in quite, because he's got it so locked in voice leading that it just seems natural, like wallpaper or something. It's just in there. But
yeah, I'm pretty fascinated by that world. I don't think I have the brain for the low string, but I know I kind of got into George Van Epps like retroactively through like Bucky Pizzarelli, like that kind of later school, I guess. But
so that's the thing about low A is, as George would say, it introduces no new note into the tuning. So all of if you have D minor 9 at the 5th fret, you just walk the bass over root 5th and then low octave root. So you can just treat it like a bossa nova bass player with a root and a 5th and it's really easy. George worked for a year and a half on a 6-string guitar in what he called the second standard tuning, which was from his low A to his 2nd string B. So he worked on a guitar that just had that. So by the time he got his guitar, he could play it.
wow.
Yeah, he'd already done it here. And if you don't know the story, there's a great story, a party trick that George would allow anyone at a party that he was playing at, or if friends were over, they could detune one of his strings a half step, and he would still play as if nothing was changed.
Whoa, no.
No.
It's crazy. How did you know how the guitar came to be? Like how did he have that built for him? Because I guess it was the first of its kind, really.
More or less, and there was a lot of reluctance to do it. So he knew, I can't say his name, it's Epistaphylos, something like that, the builder. So George knew Epi and had the idea that he wanted low range like his brother Bob had on the piano, because he liked those harmonies, and as an accompanying instrument he wanted to be able to play the bass, and he thought bass. So he asked if it could be done, and they said yeah. So he said he watched this old guy with a chisel knock the neck off of his beloved Epiphone and carve a new one and put it in and put the angle in, and a week later after the glue dried. If you look online, I'll put a link to it. There's an interview that George did with a man named Raleigh Brown that's really nice, and it gives you such a great idea of what George was like, exactly what he was like. Yeah.
Sure.
But he could play it right away, so.
Tom, I know you've got a guitar with a high 7 string, is that right?
Yeah. I have the classical, I guess, like this is no new territory, because I guess Lenny did it with the classical first.
Yeah.
Because it's the only way you can get a string up to A.
How do you find it?
It makes a lot of intuitive sense to me, because working at the store, I would try the 7 strings with low tunings, and then suddenly my mental vision of the fretboard was just like, it's gone. You know, but with the high string, it felt like, okay, I can just take the chord shapes that I know and can picture, and then just say, what extensions can I add on top of it? I don't know why that feels easier to me.
Yeah. I think that would make more sense to me also. I've never tried any kind of 7 string, but I think that would make more sense. I was playing yesterday actually with a friend of mine, and he brought a 5 string bass, and we were just talking. I was looking at his hands, and I was getting so confused because I was, just even that messes me up. Like I was like, what are you doing? But yeah, even that was messing me up. So I don't think I'd probably play a 7 string player.
Yeah. The sound of an electric 7 string, I mean, is like,
I love those.
The high A is unreal. I've tried to no avail to make that happen.
Really?
Yeah, I bought like a low one, like one with a low B or A, and then I managed to get 1 string up to A for about a month, and then it broke, and then I had to do it again.
You might have to,
month's not bad to be fair.
You might have to go short scale, which is what Lenny had to do with Kirk Sand, that stubby guitar that he has. He had to go shorter scale to get his high string up where he wanted.
Yeah, I find it a shame that it's not a more commonly talked about thing, because there's a guitar builder up here who you might actually know of, Creston Lee. He makes some very, very fine instruments, and I was working at a bakery once, and he happened to be there, and so I like emerged from the back because I heard someone say his name. I'm like sweaty and disoriented, and I was like, Creston, would you build this thing for me? I have this thing that I really need. No one else is doing it.
That's brilliant.
And then I was like, so will you build it short scale 7 string guitar so I can put a high A? And he was like, no.
Why not?
That's not the expected end to that story. Just get out of here.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, damn.
Take a guitar and put a capo clamp behind the 5th fret and use that as a 0 fret, and get a light set of zippy slinkies or something, a 7 to 36 or whatever it is, and tune it up to A.
That's a good idea.
To hear it.
Yeah, like when I did try it, and when I got that 1 string up, I mean, it's a beautiful sound. It's like, feels like very Fender Rhodes, like, particularly in the upper register.
I think right now my duo sonic is in F sharp. Ted's harpsichord tuning. Yeah, it's in F sharp. So it's up a whole step with 8 to 38 up a whole step.
Yeah, and is that short scale?
Yeah, this is a duo sonic.
Okay.
Yeah, very sweet.
Cool.
Very sweet.
Cool. Yeah.
I'm realizing I know nothing about guitars. Like talking to you guys.
I know nothing about guitars. I don't know nothing.
Scales, no. String gauges, no idea. No.
I think my progression of guitars I liked was Strat because it looked cool, and then I prefer the way a telly looks when you're sitting down.
Right.
And that's about as much. There's that chap, Tom, I think I may have sent you a video of his in the past. I don't know what his real name is, because I've found multiple videos, and I think he's from like maybe the Netherlands or Belgium or something like this, and one of them is called like, one of them's got like an English name, and one of them's got like, he's got like an English version of his name, and his real name is like I've seen his video like Ronnie Smith, but I've seen the same guy like something Schmitz or something like this, but he plays an Epiphone Les Paul with a high, and his sound is beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. It's quite hard to find much on this guy, but I know he's got, all I remember is he's got like 2 YouTube channels, one with his name in English and one with his name in his native language. But it sounds absolutely beautiful. The sound is just lovely. And I was like, this tone is amazing. It's like, He's like, yeah, it's just the eye with a bit of reverb on the guitar. So, it sounds beautiful. Yeah.
One technical note, because I've looked into this kind of thing for years, is a lot of guys got into epoxying the ball ends on high strings that were going to be really tight, because otherwise, sometimes it's not that the string breaks, it's that the ball wrap fails and the thing unwinds and just kind of lets go, kind of wimpy, and just kind of lets go. So guys were epoxying the windings or using solder to make sure to make sure it's solid, you know.
How are you getting on with your new guitar, Tom? I know you sent me a cool picture the other day.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. I guess to go back a tiny bit, I think the reason I'm so into all this technical stuff is like I used to try and build guitars. So I've built like a handful, and so I guess I find them to be just like little works of art. You know, I see you've got a really nice collection behind you there, John. So I've added 2 to my collection. One is like a shorter scale 7-string travel guitar. It's a classical, and that is wonderful because it was the cheapest way to get someone to make custom specifications. Like he gave me like a shorter scale and a radius fretboard, because on my actual classical with a body, the neck is like flat as a board. So any like barring across all 7 strings with classical action becomes rather difficult. So I'm sitting here with this like weird, it looks like something out of a Dr. Seuss book, you know?
Do you have it? Can you show us?
Yeah, I can pull it out.
I think
and it's a very odd looking thing.
I think the chaps will like to see it.
Yeah, this is fun.
Yeah.
I mean, the main reason is like I don't want to be parted from my guitar ever, so it comes in like a tiny bag.
It looks like a cricket bat or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, and then the like actual guitar itself is quite literally just this.
What's at the headstock, so to speak? It ends. Wow.
Yeah, it's where you tie it, and then it's got like some crazy looking.
Would the maker mind if you said how much roughly something like that costs?
Probably not. I mean, this one is like 2,200, which is like far more than I should be spending. But it's a quality instrument, you know. And I guess I'm a sucker for a good sound, and like to be able to tell someone like, okay, I want like a radius fretboard, fret markers, because I know I'm going to get confused with no headstock, and all that stuff. I mean, kind of hard to beat at that price.
What was the turnaround time, and also how does it sit? You have to use a strap, or how?
Yeah, so there's like these little you can see where they screw in. There's basically these little arms that you can attach, and you can set the kind of angle of it. So particularly for playing like classical music, it's nice to have it like where it should be, because I had to sleep with a wrist brace for a number of years from my terrible posture. So.
And what was the turnaround time from ordering it to getting in your hands?
It was about 6 months. Which is the most patient I think I've ever been in my life.
That's exactly what I wanted to ask about. What was that anticipation like of going to sleep thinking, okay, maybe 40 more days?
Well, it's kind of awful when you haven't even played the instrument, you know? Because like to drop a substantial amount of money and then be like, I don't know if I'm even gonna like this thing. So I kind of blocked it out of my mind. I was like, it'll show up, and then hopefully I'll like it. And I do. I think it's great for what it does.
And that's a high A you've got on there, is that right?
Yeah. And the reason for the short scale is because I'm using, like Lenny did, I guess, like a fishing line. You know?
Is it really? Is that actual fit? Really? Oh,
yeah. Wow. It's like 25-pound line weight. So it sounds really thin, and with the shorter scale, I think I could go up to like 35-pound line weight and have it sound closer to the rest of the strings without having to like EQ it to the point where it gets that like bunch of bees piezo sound.
Oh yeah.
Sorry,
It's a spit.
That's brilliant.
That's what I say about that piezo. It's a spitting sound. It goes
Yeah.
because the compression of the signal, it's impacting the thing, and it's.
It's funny. I think we were talking about. It's funny how that sound was like so common in one era. It's really, yeah. That's funny, man. Yeah. I remember, speaking of the fishing line thing, I just remember one funny thing. There was an interview. There's like an interview. I can't remember where, but an interview with Danny Brown. He briefly says, "Oh yeah, a company made me like a special string, but I stopped using it. I prefer the fishing line." This made me laugh.
Yeah, it's a neat one. It's hard to explain, but where I work, I have my guitar out, so it's always quite funny to see people come up to the counter, and you can always tell who's a guitar player. They'll like at first like see a guitar, and then you can see them kind of be like, they'll see the extra string and what the hell's going on there?
I had one question for you, Tom, too, about sometimes you have a thumb pick and sometimes not, and I'm wondering what's the difference for you.
Yeah, I stopped for a long time. When I was big into Chet Atkins, I was using a thumb pick always. And then I stopped because, I was watching like Ted Greene and stuff. And then I don't really know what happened, but recently I guess I was like practicing some certain like tremolo things, and the hand angle wasn't really working. So I thought I'd give it a try again. And I've pretty much fallen back in love with the things. I could probably talk more than I should about what I perceive to be the advantages of using a pick. But I guess in my mind, it's like you get the best of both worlds, because I've been listening to a lot of like Django stuff lately too. And I guess part of what makes his single note stuff sound so rich is just that he has a pick. I had kind of neglected this in my mind for a long time. But like you get almost more like a horn sound out of your instrument when the notes are picked. So it's been a bit of a relearning process. And like modern guys like Julian Lage, I feel like they build their whole style around the use of a pick, which is something that I previously took for granted. Sorry to kind of give you a rambling reply.
It's a fascinating one. I did a thumb pick for quite a few years as well. And for me, it was about the angle, because there's a subject for some reason well, I'm sure there are people talking about it, but I never really encounter people talking about muting. And muting is such a big thing for me. I don't want those unwanted noises, and I still get them, obviously, I can't get rid of them altogether. Left hand fingers catch on the strings, right, open strings ring. But as far as possible, I'm constantly muting up what I'm doing so that I can only hear those 2 or 3 notes that I want to hear. And the thumb pick really helped, because then the angle of the hand was such that I could bring this bit of the hand in all the time. And I still now do that, but now I just have to put up with the fact that I'm just catching the bass string with the very side of this thumb, because I've got a classical technique angle. I've got a completely flat right hand. And so I did have a light bulb moment where I went, I just need to play with the thumb pick. That's what I need. Then I'll have the attack I want, and I'll have the angle I want. But I didn't like the sound after all those years. I just thought, you know what? I don't like the sound. My bass is just too picky.
I totally know what you mean. I totally get that.
But talk to me in a month's time, and I'll be going thumb pick. It's the answer. It's the way forward. And this is the thing, right? One constantly changes one's mind.
Yeah.
You talk to me next week, I'll be going Holdsworth. Where's he been all my life? It's fantastic. Above and below, yes.
One of the guys around here who I play with sometimes was like trying to get me on the pick train, and I think even like 2 months ago I was like, I won't I don't ever need it. And then now I'm like coming up to me like, this is awesome, man.
My life. Yeah.
It's the new thing.
I definitely agree with you about the sound, but I think there's also like a little part of me that likes the extra separation of like timbre between the strings that can be like overpowering at times, but like for certain Bach stuff, I know this is probably like sacrilege amongst classical guitarists, but I feel like having the separation of voices that the Thumbpick offers like helps me hear the bass from the melody very separately. Or I'm working on like the inventions right now, and so I feel like if I pay special attention to which notes I play with the Thumbpick, it helps to like hear the two voices.
Yeah.
It's like
I love this. This is great.
How slowly do you practice those inventions?
I'm trying to be better about going very slowly, because if I go reasonably fast, it's a train wreck almost immediately.
I'm interested now. So when you play those things, are you able, when you play the relationship, say a seventh or something, do you see it and you cognize, okay, I'm playing a seventh, or is it just you're reading, or how?
That's something that I've been trying to work on, because I learned a number of Bach pieces in the past, and it was kind of like I just would play them. I read them. I didn't think about what was happening. But I think talking to Ray, I was a bit more motivated to try and ask myself what's happening here, because I think it helps with memorizing them, to know like, okay, this sound corresponds to something that I know. And then in particular with the inventions, just because it feels a little bit harder to parse what's happening because the two voices are moving so much. It wasn't until like recently I've been trying to write my own. And so it's not very good, but in trying to put together the notes, and like I have a conception of what they correspond to. And so then going back and playing Bach's work, I was able to say like, oh, I see these intervals as part of this. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I don't know if that makes sense.
That's exactly what I was asking, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess really the thing that's helped the most with that is trying to write in that style. Because I think I would otherwise just read the notes and play them and then be like, right, that's done, you know?
Yeah, when you're writing it, you've got no choice but to you know, sort of really grasp the mechanics or something. Yeah,
especially if I'm trying to like steal some of those like modulation ideas, like because to try and figure out how he gets from point A to point B and then replicate that, you kind of have to say like, okay, what notes can I use, or what intervals can I use that'll outline like a B7 or like an A7, you know?
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, those are absolutely phenomenal pieces of music. I'm like floored by pretty much everything Bach does, but those in particular, it's just like, yeah, real eye opener.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
Really great to meet all of you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Lovely to meet you too, Tom.
Yeah. Bears saying again, it's pretty surreal, you know. I love all the stuff you guys are doing, so feels like a real privilege.
Wonderful. You know, I think I reflected on it in the minute that we have. Miles Davis, everybody's always saying, Miles always said, don't play what you hear. And I reflected on it recently, and I think one thing that makes sense to me is imagine it being played. So if you hear a 2-bar phrase, maybe hear the thing start, but don't play until maybe almost the last bar. Let it play, but don't play what you hear. Take a piece out of it, like you're jabbing in. What do you think of that?
I love that. That is great.
I think that's close.
I'm taking that away. I'm taking that away and working on that one.
Because it's never made sense to me otherwise. Don't play what you hear. Well, then what are you going to play? But no, don't play exactly what you hear, because that's your habit.
Yeah.
See you guys. Take care now, my friends. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
See you guys. Have a good one. Pleasure as always.